In this lesson, we're going to demonstrate how to use a for each loop with a collection of class objects. We're going to work with the employee class that we used previously when we were talking about inheritance. So here's the class again. It just has a couple of data members, one constructor, a couple of getters, and then a display imp info, which we'll use to display data about the objects when we loop through them using a for each loop. So let's go back to the main program. We've imported the ArrayList class so that we can create an array list of employee objects. So let's go ahead and create the array list first. So it's an array list of employee type. We'll call it imps. And then we call the constructor. Now we need to create a few employee objects. So we'll do that. We'll create 4. So 2 more to go. And the last one. Okay. Now we need to add these into the array list. So we'll do that. Okay. Now we're ready to loop through the array list using a for each loop and display the information about each employee. So our for each loop will look like this. For employee, and we'll just say imp in imps. There's our collection, our array list. All we want to do is system out println imp dot display imp info, like so. And that method returns a string, so we do need a system out println to make that work. So I believe that's all we need for the program, so let's save it, compile it, and then run it. And there's the data on each one of our employees. So again, to discuss how the for each loop works, the for each loop declares an object. That's the employee imp part, and then it specifies a collection to pull objects from, in this case, imps. And so for each employee in the imps array list, it pulls out the next one it gets to. Here I'm talking about the iterator that works behind the scenes in the for each loop, stores it in imp, and then we do whatever it is we need to do with the data in the body of the loop. And the iterator keeps track of how many objects are in the array list or whatever the collection is. And that way we don't have to worry about going beyond the end like we would with a for loop in an array, for example. So there's another example of how to use a for each loop, and for each loops are extremely easy to use. And I would encourage you to use them whenever possible rather than try to work through the details of a for loop. For each loops are almost as fast as for loops, and they're less likely to cause you trouble in that there's a lot less to have to specify in a for each loop. All we have to do is declare an object and provide a collection, and then perform whatever task we want to perform. With a for loop, we have a loop control variable that we have to initialize, provide a relational test for, and to increment or decrement. So the for each loop is a lot easier. And if whatever you're going to do in the loop is going to be done to every element in the collection, then the for each loop is easier to use anyway. Now we're ready to move on to the exercises for this chapter, and we're going to start off with looking at a situation where we want to rewrite an if-else-if statement using a switch statement.